everybody. We will begin with adopting the agenda with flexibility. Are there any changes to tonight's agenda?
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to move items 12 and 13 to the front.
Okay, top of new reports.
New business.
Okay, I mean new business. Okay.
We have a special guest with us.
All right. Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the agenda as presented with changes?
I'll move. Second.
Okay. All right, and we'll begin tonight with guests, introduction, and I'll start over here with Carrie.
Carrie Gray, Director of Finance. Stephanie Stevens.
Mark Bates. Trey Williams. Art Pan.
Ruth Noble.
Hayden Haggard. Jesse Van Hoosier.
Ellie Bailey. Brandon Coulon.
Eric Harrigan. Mitchell Lysington District.
Roger Hine.
Not Cruz.
Kirk Murad.
Laura Dodson.
Michael Watson. Michael Rutledge.
Okay, welcome everyone. All right, we're going to move right on in to starting with the superintendent. Any information the superintendent wants to share with the board?
I have provided some information for you under my reports. So I just want to make sure that you have seen that.
Okay. Comments or questions from the board for the superintendent? I do appreciate the tally of transfers. That was very interesting. The only other thing I would be so curious about was elementary, secondary, et cetera, you know, where that fell. But I know that was a collaborative effort, and so thank you guys.
And so I wanted to know where they were coming from, so I had Ms. Stevens do that for us.
Were any of these, that's a good point, just waited, but were any of these due to the NMA rule changes?
We had a handful, yes. We did.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you. I know that takes some time, but I did think it was a really good thing to share with the board.
Kids coming from Oklahoma just to play football and
Word travels, huh?
No, thank you for that.
Okay. Any other questions for the superintendent? If not, I'll open it up for questions for directors. Any of the director reports?
Ms. President, you guys will see that there are reports from each campus that we are starting this year, so just to keep you guys in the loop and up and going.
Third grade report was very encouraging. Love detail on what's in the second grade.
There wasn't a second.
Yeah, I like the reports.
I do too.
I had a question on the Director of HR Secondary Education Board report. So that is interesting data. I appreciate you sharing that with us. How does our state compare to other states? Do you know that? I mean, I assume I know the answer, but.
Honestly, I'm not sure, because I'll give you an example. So when we compare, I'm going to just talk about SAT right now. When we compare SAT scores, we're ranked pretty low.
Yeah.
But we're one of the few states that require 100% participation.
Right.
So someone like, I think the top state is, I think it's North Dakota or something. Their scores are super high, but they only test 3%. So we're always comparing apples to oranges. So it's not real accurate data. I can tell you with Lovington compared to within our southeastern New Mexico, we are all in the same boat.
Really?
Yes. When those scores, we're allowed to share those scores when they're not embargoed, we're going to share with you all the data that our district has put together, so you have a better picture. But we are equal with all of our surrounding. I mean, it's shocking how similar we are. But we want to show you the starting point. So at the end of the year, we're going to show you the ending.
The growth.
Show our growth. Yes.
Yeah. I like it. I think it's good to have. We know what we got. How does this? Remember the data that only a few districts participated in? What was that called? I can't remember.
Matt, that was new.
It was with Everest.
Yes.
This year, you don't know.
That's- Okay, thank you.
And Mr. De La Cruz, thank you for the transportation report. I know this time of year, there's always questions, and everybody is sure that this year is longer, regardless of what year you pick, and when you start timing it, I mean, it's moving pretty quickly. So is there anything else that you want to add to that, or any questions from the board on transportation?
The only other thing would be, we had a new mechanic that started a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. And thank you guys very much, Mrs. Chief, for that, because it definitely major help.
Thank you.
And I want to tell Mr. Murad, I appreciate that you put together the schedule of football, soccer, all the different activities in one place, so you don't have to go back and forth.
I hope everybody shows up.
Yes. It's there everywhere, and, soccer, volleyball, football, it's all in one place.
Okay.
On the maintenance and grounds, I assume at the parking lot there, I know there's that big drainage pond. Is that thing, I mean, I assume it's gonna be fenced off away from the rest of the grounds there?
We're gonna put a little fish in there, or you can have some fish, you know? It could be a whole different project, Any other questions for our directors? Thank you, guys. I know it takes a lot of time, but it really is valuable information, so as we get going. I know the numbers are a little low right now, but we'll see what it looks like next month. So. Okay. If there's no other questions, we'll move into routine matters. We'll take items 1 through 4 as part of the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve as presented?
So moved.
Second.
It was 1 through 3. Okay. All right, next item, you'll see, I think I said 1 through 4, but the numbers keep changing on all of this. Sorry about that. You will see our donations listed, and certainly appreciate our continued support from various partners for our district. Any questions? You hear a motion to approve donations is presented.
So moved.
Second.
All right. And I think looking forward, if we keep this format, we would almost need to switch 4 and 5 because those items are what we approve. Okay. So, and I do thank you guys for putting all financial reports in one section. That really is very beneficial. Appreciate that. Okay. All right. All right, we're going to move right on into old business. First item is the second reading to consider approval of policy service advisories 275 through 278.
A standard question.
Okay, questions from the board?
How many teachers do we have right now involved and enrolled in this teacher residency program? Do we have any participating in that?
We do. We have, and Ms. Bailey can probably speak to that, or Mr. Banks. Yes. Are you talking about our,
Not Ed Fellows, but
not Ed Fellows?
just because I thought that they had put a moratorium on because there was such an influx of it. Did I dream that on the teacher residency?
The
I'll look
leadership
back on-
conference I went to in Taos, the lady that spoke there from Patty was really pushing for people to get involved in.
Okay,
And
Okay.
so,
We have Ed Fellows.
Right.
Which, yeah.
but not the teacher residency. Okay, so right now we don't have any. Yeah,
okay.
I think the way that's set up, it doesn't. I mean, I think for some districts it does.
We're utilizing the Ed Fellows. It's been very positive.
which is a
Course,
better,
yes,
because they're already in our district
yes.
and we're able to grow our own. And I think that really helps. Okay. Other questions? If not, do I hear a motion to approve as presented?
So moved.
Okay, next item, second reading to consider approval of revisions to policy G, and they're all listed 3,200, 2,550, 2,600, and 7,500.
I brought this before the board in July, and so this is our second reading, and I'll stand for questions.
Okay. Questions from the board? I know we had a lot of discussion about this last month, making sure we were all real clear on this.
None questions from me.
Okay. Okay, do I hear a motion to approve those policies in section G as presented with the noted changes?
Second.
That's open. Okay, thank you. We're gonna move right into new business, and as mentioned, we're gonna bump up item 12 to first item under new business. I'll turn it over to the superintendent.
Hey, I'd like to welcome Mr. Jordan here. He's come all the way down in person. We're excited to see him here.
It was on your way, right, Eric?
It was, yes.
All right, I'll turn it over to you.
Great. Well, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Eric Harrigan with RBC Capital Markets. So you have two items that are before you, and I've got a presentation that's going to cover both of these items. But I also wanted to talk to you a little bit about future planning as well, because we do anticipate that after next year, that after next year, all of your existing debt will be paid off, and that you can go back to voters and continue to maintain the tax rate that you've had in place, and for additional authorization that you can use for school projects.
So when you say next year, will you clarify, do you mean fiscal year or calendar year?
In calendar year, it would be November of 2027.
Okay.
And I'll talk
Thinking.
about the tax rate implications of that, or the timing of that, because when the legislature moved school board elections, it kind of messed up all of that. So, but on page 1 of the presentation, and if you don't have this in front of you, I do have copies with me. But we do have your history of assessed valuation. In 2025. You had a slight decline in your tax base. This is all attributable to a 13% decline in oil and gas values. We do have values for this upcoming tax year for oil and gas, and it's about an 8% decline. But those values are based upon really essentially last year's values, because you collect oil and gas property tax revenues, if you will, on a monthly basis on the value and production of that oil. And so that's one of the reasons that we're always very conservative in what we project your tax base, because we never want to put you in a position where you're not collecting sufficient revenues to be able to pay your debt service. And as we all know, oil and gas can fluctuate fairly significantly. But your tax rate has been very stable especially over the last 4 years. Your general obligation bond rate has been at $6.59. Any over collections that we have from that, we use to pay off your existing debt. And then you have a ETN rate of 62 cents, 62.5 cents. You have a 2 mil levy, and you have an HB 33. And that HB 33 will be coming up for renewal in November of 2027. So on page 3 of the presentation, this is a snapshot of your debt service of what you're currently paying on your 2021 bonds. Without it, just right now, without any action, you're going to continue to pay those off until 2031. But you do have some excess revenue, which we're recommending that you we love to come up with words in finance, defease bonds. It's really kind of paying them off early and putting the money into an escrow. So on page 4 of the presentation, so last year, the district paid off a little over $4 million of your general obligation bonds. You paid off $3.5 million of your 2015 bonds, and then $750,000 of your 2021 bonds. This was in 2024, and then last year in 2025, you defeased about almost $6 million of your existing debt, and all of that maintained your existing tax rate that you have. And so everything we're going to talk about is doing that exact same thing. It's just maintaining that rate. And so we estimate, based upon the cash that the district has, being able to pay an additional $4.8 million in addition to just your regularly scheduled debt payment. And you can kind of see on page 5, in the yellow, that's in the yellow boxes, that's the amount of debt that we're going to be able to prepay early. So after this payment that's coming up, that's going to be for your approval tonight, your bonds will not be paying off in 2031. They'll now be paying off in 2029 because of that. And then next year for FY27, we expect that you're going to collect enough revenue to be able to pay off.
I mean
the
FY28, we're in FY27.
Correct. By the time you're done by FY27,
Okay.
by June.
I just want to be sure that
Yep.
we were, okay.
Yep. By June 30th, 2027, you should have collected sufficient revenue to pay off all of your general obligation debt. And so what we have done on page 6 is that we have kind of projected out what your debt service tax rate is going to look like. You're going to have a slightly lower general obligation bond rate next year, but you're going to have a slightly higher education technology note rate. So that means you're going to generate more revenue for education technology improvements for the district. But the combined rate of $7.22 for your debt stays exactly the same. It never changes. Now, because in the state legislature's infinite wisdom, by moving the elections for school districts from February to November, it's about 7 years ago now, what it did is it messed up the timing of when elections are held and when tax rates get set. So tax rates get set in September, elections happen in November, and unfortunately, if you don't have authorization to sell bonds before that tax rate gets set, you can't set a tax rate based upon what voters may or may not approve. And so what will happen is that your ETN tax rate will go up, but your GO bond rate will go down, and this is for fiscal year 28, tax year 27. If we believe that you can go out to voters and ask for between 22 to 25 million in bonds and continue to maintain your $7.22 rate. Not only will you be able to go to voters in 2027, but every 4 years thereafter, you'll be able to go back to voters for additional authorization and continue to maintain that $7.22 rate. So instead of the district just issuing a set of bonds for 1 year and then not being able to issue for 15, 20 years, this puts you on a schedule of predictability of every 4 years you're going to have funds, so long as voters authorize and approve those bonds, that you'll have those funds available for school construction projects. And it gets you on this nice schedule. If oil and gas were to drop significantly, you would just see a decline in what you would be going to voters. Conversely, if oil and gas were to go up significantly, you'd be able to go to voters for more than that. But that would just kind of fluctuate every 4 years depending upon what happens to your tax base and how quickly we're able to amortize your debt. And we've made that assumption by having roughly a 25% decline in your tax base. So we want to be conservative in our assumptions. We don't want to get too aggressive with what we think, your oil and gas values are gonna do. So then assuming that voters approve, a question in November, then beginning in fiscal year 2029, tax year 28, your GO bond, you could then issue GO bonds. And that's what the timing would roughly look like. But we'll be coming back in the early part of next year with a recommendation on the amount. Again, we estimate it's going to be between 22 and 25 million.
But that would be for FY '29, not FY '28?
You could actually issue the bonds in FY '29, but you would not be able to issue the bonds.
Yeah, because it would be
Yeah,
November.
actually, you could. You could probably in the summer of fiscal year 28.
Next
You
time.
could issue. So basically,
That would be before.
so the election would be in November. So it would be at the beginning of fiscal year 28. You could issue in the summer of 28. So
For the
probably
29. Okay.
June of 28 would be the earliest that you
Okay.
could issue, because you do have that authorization. So, yeah.
Thank you.
And then once you issue those bonds, then you can get the tax rate set. We just kind of we wanted to just sort of on page 7 show you what we're projecting in terms of what your tax base is going to do in terms of predicting out what your election amount is. And again, we're projecting a decline in 2026. Just to again be conservative,
Decline in
and then
27.
a fairly big decline in 2028. Again, that's just us being conservative on your oil and gas when we're recommending 22 million in general obligation bonds. And then there's the last page here is on page 8. We like to use this as just kind of a long-term planning tool. So you would potentially have a bond issue question and an HB 33 question that would be presented to voters in this November. And then in November of 29, you would have your SB 9. And then you would have your elections would kind of go back and forth until 2035. You'd have your bond and your SB 9 on the same election. But our goal would try to make sure that you don't have all 3 questions at the same time.
It's a lot. And our community's great to support us, but we need to be able to do that.
What we have found is that even though when there's no tax increase at all, when there's 3 questions, it just leads to confusion. So if you can reduce that, the better. So we like this little table for planning purposes. So I'll stop there. If you have any questions on the
Okay.
presentation.
I'll open it up to board members. You guys do a good job of making it simple for those of us that might be a little challenged with this. I'm sure that group out there got every bit of it, but yeah, these are great visuals for us. Thank you.
Absolutely. So I think is it the education technology note? Is that the first item up for approval?
Yes.
Okay. So what this is, so the education technology note, this is a 2-step process. The first process, which is what you're approving tonight, is the necessity resolution. That's declaring a necessity to issue education technology notes. Then we will be coming back with you to actually approve the sale of the bonds, as just like we've done in the years past. This is being sold to the state treasurer. It's a 1-day loan. The monies already with the district, and the bond closes, and then the following day, the district then pays that off, and then those monies can then be used for education technology or education technology purposes, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. Just the second meeting, the final approval, due to requirement of state law, has to be held at a special meeting. The goal to try to coincide it with the normal regular meeting, just 10 or 15 minutes before. And I'd stand for any questions.
Okay. Questions from the board? Do you want to go ahead and do all, or do you want to go ahead and talk about all of it? Or do you want us to do it?
Whatever your pleasure is.
Do you guys want to do a motion on this one and then have him go to the next one, or do you want it all together and then two separate motions at that time? What do you feel more comfortable with?
I'm good with it all together.
Okay, we'll just let you, you're on a roll.
All right.
You may lose us.
Yeah. So the next resolution is authorizing the defeasance of outstanding bonds with debt service fund collections. As I mentioned in the presentation, you have approximately $4.8 million, which you will use to effectively prepay, in a sense, the 2021 New Mexico Finance Authority loan. What this does and what this authorizes is an escrow to be set up. That escrow will be funded by direct obligations of the U.S. Treasury, and those will then be used to pay off those 2021 bonds when they become due. So it'll pay off the 2031, the 2030, and a partial of the 2029 payments on the 2021 bonds. And so what this resolution does is that it delegates to the superintendent to approve the securities in the escrow. We'll be part of that and recommending in this particular case, the highest bid, because you want the highest interest rate. The escrow was bid out to a bunch of firms because these were technically taxable bonds when they were refunded in 2021. Federal tax law requires that you use taxable U.S. Treasuries to fund the escrow. If it's tax exempt, you get to use a thing what's called SLUG, State and Local Government Securities, which is also something that's created by the U.S. Treasury. But in this particular case, you can't use those because these were taxable bonds. And so this is consistent with what the board has done in the past with setting up this defeasance and prepaying the 2021 bonds. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any additional questions from the board? Can I back up? Do we know the dollar amount on the ETNs or not yet?
We do. Sorry, what is that number? I think I have it. It's around 500,000.
Okay.
It's similar to prior years.
Okay.
I don't have that number right in front of me. My apologies.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Actually, it
Figured you
might
knew it,
be-
so,
I think it's about 500,000.
okay.
Sorry, 1,040,000.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
you know,
there you go.
I'll take that too.
There you go.
That's a great mistake to
Yeah.
make, Eric.
Be on the low side.
I just didn't see it, and boy, I'm glad that,
So, on the agenda here, there's a lease purchase agreement, a notice of intent, so does that all go with?
Yeah, so.
that all falls under, go ahead.
Yeah, great question. So to conform with the requirement of state law, the education technology notes have to be sold as a lease purchase arrangement. That's the legal term. We just call it education technology notes.
Okay, so each, there's 3 other items here that all fall under the.
That necessity, if I understand it correctly, the way I'm reading it on here, the necessity resolution, lease purchase arrangement, taxable transaction, the notice of intent, and the update, that all is part of the ETN.
That is correct, yes.
And then the defeasance is its own.
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
You always seem to bring us good news, and I appreciate that. But I do like that we keep the rate the same, and I know that that's something that the board really worked on several years ago under y'all's guidance to really keep the rate the same for our community, and then that way it's not back and forth, and that really does help.
I
Yeah.
think it's key, and then especially if you're gonna go to voters and ask them for authorization to be able to say, look, if you approve these bonds, it's not gonna increase your tax rate.
It's just gonna be a
It's just
different
gonna
usage.
keep the status quo, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's great. Any other questions? Okay. I'm sure there'll be some by next month when we come back, but if not, we'll, is there anything you needed to add? Carrie, was there anything? Good to go. Okay. All right, hearing that, thank you, Eric. We'll take the first one, consider approval of education technology notes necessity resolution. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, and second one, consider approval of defeasance resolution. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you. Yeah.
Are you
Thanks,
making the
Eric.
rounds in this corner of the state the next day or two?
Well, I'm gonna go to Ruidoso, I'm headed to Ruidoso tonight.
Ah, okay.
And then I'm going back.
Okay, all right. Well, safe travels.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. Okay. We will now move to item 1, consider approval of preventative maintenance plan.
Mr. Van Hoosier's here for any questions you guys might have.
Okay, I'll open it up to the board.
It's a thorough plan.
Were there any significant changes that you saw as it came through?
No, ma'am. So it's just a living document. We just continue to add to it until they come out with a new
Okay,
program. PSFA provides our guidelines.
right. But this is just our regular one that.
This is our regular, yes, ma'am.
So right now, there hasn't been any significant adjustments to it.
Adjustments other than some of the duties, some of the properties that we've cleaned up and
Okay.
done some roof
Yeah, so-
repairs and things of that nature.
Okay. Okay.
Have we ever heard anything more from the state on the demolition of that
No, ma'am.
property?
I've reached out several times.
No. Well, I know every time they change.
Yeah, we get a new regional manager.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
I'm so sorry.
Well, thank you for staying on it. I know it's almost a futile effort, but one of these days
We'll
they'll
keep
have
on it.
the same employee for 3 months in a row.
Yes, ma'am.
Then maybe we can get there. Okay, the superintendent's recommendation?
To approve, please.
Okay. If there's no other questions, do I hear a motion to approve the annual maintenance plan as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Justin. All right, thank you. Next item. Consider approval of FY 26 capital assets inventory.
Madam President, members of the board, every year we will be bringing to you the list of the tagged capital assets, just for your review, so you can see. You'll see that we did add some welders and things at the bottom, and so we'll just be bringing this for your approval.
And this also, okay, I thought it included the fleet as well. Okay, questions from the board?
How do you value some of that? Is it just like
Do what, sir?
appreciate those values down and all that, or?
Up the straight line, if that's what you're asking. We do depreciate those, in our policy, and I don't have it right in front of me, but in our capitalization policy, it says how, for example, a vehicle is 5 years or whatever it is, and it's always straight line. Schools will require you straight line depreciation. And then if we dispose of something, we have to follow the state audit disposal policy.
Those are really hard to do, yeah. Okay, if there's no other questions, or there's no other questions, do I hear a motion to approve the capital assets inventory as presented?
A second.
Thank you, Carrie. Still don't understand why. Sometimes it pops up automatically, and then sometimes it doesn't. I don't even know. All right, thank you. Next item, consider approval and adoption of updates to the athletic and activity handbook.
So, Mr. Murad has made the corrections that were asked for, and he's here to answer any questions.
Thank you for the changes there on that. There is on page 18 references grades 6 through 12 again. That needs to be addressed. And then I had just a question on talking about sixth graders here.
What'd you say? What page did you
Page
say? Oh, yeah,
38,
bottom of page
yeah.
18. Okay.
And then page 38, where we struck out a bunch of that stuff on there on the red line about the.
Right.
It still says, and I just don't know this. I guess it's discussion. Per NMA rules, students in grades 6 through 8 are eligible to participate.
No.
Yeah, that's just because that page only reflects border conference rules.
Right, but it shouldn't. I mean,
I didn't want to change the border conference rules for
cheer.
handbook.
That's for cheer.
I know, but that's not the case, right? We're not allowing sixth graders to
No,
participate.
we don't allow it, but the border conference allows it.
That's the Board of Conference.
That's a border conference, that page is a border conference synopsis.
I got you.
I almost wonder if it,
It's
wow,
just-
and I mean, we're just
Yeah,
opening ourselves up to people questioning that.
Yeah,
If it says
NMA allows it. Why not?
NMAA, the district
Yeah.
does not, so I have to wonder, do we need a clarifying statement in there
I
to go?
think that maybe,
Disclaimer or?
well, that's where I think the 3 asterisk probably needs to
To
stay
stay.
on there. You know what I
Yes,
mean? The last
just
one that
add that
struck out.
sentence to
keep that
that
last
bullet,
Yeah,
that,
just so that it's clear.
to that bullet.
Okay, so I'll just add it to the end of the sentence.
That's what I'm understanding.
Where do I? We're just using.
No, just for cheer, but to be very clear that the one with the 3 and so you would just add it to that second bullet.
Just say, however, per the athletic handbook, page 26.1.
6th graders
Because
may
that
not participate in.
This whole thing, though, I mean, if you look, Ms. Ansel pointed out, if you look at the notes, 6th graders are not permitted to participate in border conference athletics.
Yeah.
But then it says, per NMA rules.
Do we have to have that bottom
Students.
section? I mean,
Students in grades 6 through 8 are.
Yeah, they can't play in any other sport except cheer for border conference.
and yet we're not going to do that because that's not fair to all of our other 6th graders. And so, isn't that correct? Isn't
No,
that
they are.
But our 6th graders aren't going to participate in anything.
right?
I can add that. I can make it more clear.
I just was confused by it, so I thought.
Yeah, sometimes I'm
Maybe it would
trying to
be-
re-explain what somebody else explained so that it fits what we want. That's what I was trying to do with those red things that I crossed out, but that's okay. I just said that.
I think where it gets a little dicey is for NMAA and Border Conference, cheer is not athletic thing, but it is, the competition cheer, but at the sixth grade level. And so they contradict themselves often through this. But I think it just needs to be clear for kids and parents that the sixth graders are not doing this.
Right. So for football, seventh graders can't play football either?
They can't play in the eighth grade team.
They can be seventh grade.
They can play seventh grade.
Understand, but they can't play eighth grade.
Correct. If they do, then we can't participate in the border conference.
That's a new information.
Right.
It's way confusing.
They did that after we did so well. So. Okay. Is that as
That's all I had. Thank
clear
you.
as mud? Everybody good?
Anything else?
Good.
Thank you.
Superintendent's recommendation? Okay, please approve, I think is what I saw in your face. And I think that the reality is, because things change with NMAA often, it's almost a living document, so,
Just make it a yearly
Almost
thing.
like
yeah.
Border Conference is a rule-following,
Yeah.
rulemaking entity of the NNMA.
And then they decide when it's gonna fall under that and when it falls under this. And that's hard for kids and their families.
Clear until
Yeah.
next year, and then they.
Right. Okay, given all of that, I'm sorry, go ahead, Ms. Ansel.
So it goes all in one board.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Do I hear a motion to approve the athletic handbook as presented with the noted changes?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next item, thank you. Consider approval of the 26-27 employee and student handbooks.
Okay, so you have links there, so as the board is approving policy, updating it, the very next day, it is being placed into the handbook, so it's live and updated as soon as possible.
That, I'm glad you said that, because obviously we approved that policy change earlier. But I got to reading in the handbook, and I need to go and do some more research, I guess. It doesn't seem like remember we did all the nicotine stuff recently? I say
With
recently, within the past 6 months probably,
I think so.
something like that. I don't think that's reflected in the handbook
Okay.
right now.
And what when he asked me about it, I wonder if it just hasn't gone through policy services yet, so maybe Vanessa, you can check with Dan.
There was a minute there where it was taking forever, because, I don't know why, there was something
And that
going
may
on,
have gotten
policy
dropped, so
services.
we need to be sure that that has the most current one in there.
And he wasn't at our last two board of directors meetings,
He wasn't?
so I don't know what's.
Well, he wasn't the one that I was at, and you weren't, he was there, yeah. So, but we can definitely check with him.
See the rest of it.
Okay. Any questions on the employee or student handbooks? Not, do I hear a motion to approve as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Is it open? Okay. Next item, consider approval of final payment to vendor following the special audit.
So, we are wanting to go ahead and clear and, pay for the services that were done, before the special audit came and before I sent everybody home. So these are services that were completed. It was just in the middle of the,
And they have been well documented as being authorized and substantiated? Okay.
yes, yes.
That's the one thing I wanted to make sure we had a really nice,
And you
track
will,
of that.
see a narrative there. of each invoice there and what work was done.
And your recommendation on this?
Is to approve it
Okay,
and
you've looked
get
over
it
it as
paid.
well.
It's the right thing to do.
Yeah, we need to pay people for what they've done, so. Okay, questions from the board?
No, ma'am.
Turn the page on that. Do I hear a motion to approve final payment to the vendor?
So moved.
I'll second. I just lost one.
All right, thank you. Next item. Consider approval to transition to a new board meeting management platform system. And the people said, this has been quite challenging. They took a product that was fairly user-friendly and it's really been difficult. So I'll turn it over to you.
Sure. So Ms. Robbins and Mr. Rutledge have been working really hard to investigate and research. They've been on Zoom calls with several different entities. And Ms. Vanessa has some, I think, did you upload she's got all your pros and cons of the four different companies that she's bringing before you. And there is one that we both like.
And that would be
Recommending Board Book.
Board Book Premier. Okay. There's such a substantial difference in price.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that a yearly price? Like
Yes.
all of them?
Yes.
They're all yearly fees?
So is there any type of an upfront, if, by going with a new system, is there an upfront that we are aware of?
No, not the, and I did verify, I mean, I asked if, let's say we were to put the electronic voting, if that's an extra cost, and he said no, that all of that was included in.
We're not contracted with Diligent?
It
On a
expires
year-to-year?
next
September
month.
15th
Yeah.
of this year.
That lasts long. What's that fee?
It's over 10,000.
Over 10.
Yeah.
So we had Board Docs and Diligent
Yeah.
bought Board Docs out.
Diligent bought, and we've had it for several years, but
What
this
happens is
transition has been,
the price variance is because Diligent, they charge you for strategic planning and evaluations and stuff that we don't use in the
Right.
platform already, so there's no way that
we have other methods that we use that stuff for, so. We're paying for services that we don't need.
That is correct.
I want it to be user-friendly for board members, for directors. I understand, because I've been there where I accidentally moved the agenda around, and then I was scared to confess to Vanessa, and it's challenging, and it shouldn't be that hard for directors to put that stuff in, so.
Right. Diligent is not user-friendly and it's easy manipulated.
Well, even on the voting, oh my gosh,
And we do have our directors just send all their things to Vanessa and she uploads it for them.
Yeah.
I can't promise that's going to happen with Board Book, but
And the contract's just a year on all these?
yes.
and I know there's some other districts in this area of the state and some others that use Board Book, you know, and I've gotten on and looked and it's pretty user-friendly.
and it's comparable to Board Docs.
It is.
What we used to have, which was pretty easy.
So you do know some people who use this?
Yeah, Roswell does, Socorro does, yeah, some of them do.
So it's less than half the price.
Oh, like a third, yeah, it's a lot.
10,300 versus.
Much better use of our dollars, in my opinion. I don't like to have things that we don't have a use for and to be paying that kind of money for it, so.
And so we're bringing it forward this month because we have to make a decision. If not, we will be extended another year in Diligent.
Anybody else wondered how next month's meeting's gonna go? Okay, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, so. Okay, recommendations from the board. What do you, the superintendent and Vanessa feel, and Michael, if I understand right, has also you guys have kind of looked at the ease of transition. I think my biggest worry is that we don't lose our history. Yeah, that we would still, are they gonna move it over?
They'll move it over, and I
Okay.
have a lot of it just in my files, my like work files
Okay.
and stuff already.
Yeah,
too.
because that's really valuable, and we don't want to lose that history, so, okay.
Well, I move, make a motion. We transition to board book approval.
Okay,
Second.
all right.
We cancel tomorrow.
Vanessa, thank you. I know you spent a lot of time getting the information with a short turnaround time, so thank you very much for that.
You get that email, it's half past now, you sure you want to?
Yeah, you do. Just for you, tonight, we're
Special
having a
offer.
special. So true. It's so true. All right, thank you. Okay, next item. Consider approval of MOA with Norley Hospital. Memorandum of agreement, sorry.
Yes. We did a little bit more research, we meaning, Mr. Hine and I, and, I have some information for you here.
Because if I remember correctly, the main thing the board was concerned about was, where did they come up with that dollar amount?
Yes.
I think that was the main question.
So it's paying for half, of salary and benefits for the employee and also gas. Norley will transport for a full year. And we used to split that with Norley with one of our employees, but that employee now works for us and she serves in a different capacity. And so Norley picks up all of that now, transporting kids. Last year, the average was 50 students a week, sometimes up to 56 students a week. And Norley had 2,508 transports for the school year 25-26.
How many?
2,508.
What medical necessities require a student to be transported from the school to the Lovington that the parents can't do?
So well, it's during the school day. And so they're picking them up during school, taking them for services and bringing them right back to school. Yes, ma'am. And they work really close with us with their schedules as well. So they're, everything is precise and timed and looking at that child's schedule of when they can leave. And so we rely on Norley to pick them up and they stay there, and they bring them back, check them in. Yes, ma'am.
So we don't have anybody on staff that does that anymore?
No. We used to share an employee with them, but no, we hired her.
And so to be clear, the $3,000 a month, is that for 12 months or is that for 10 months?
It's for the time, I believe, that we're in school. So, yeah.
And they still see kids.
They do still see kids in the summer.
Okay, so it
They
could
did
be.
some of that, yeah.
We pay during the summer or no?
What's that?
We still pay during the summer?
Not according, not the amount here. It's just for the school year.
Okay,
Summer is on.
okay.
For the month of June and July.
Buy 10, get 2 free.
Yeah, because it just says $3,000 a month and I just wasn't sure.
That's a lot more kids than we thought.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, to me, that's gotta be mostly the salary that you're paying.
That's
You know
not
what I
very
mean?
much.
And benefits.
Yes. And that's why I was kind of wondering about, if we're only paying 10 months, is this person, they're not employed? The
They're
other-
employed by Norley.
Yeah, so the other
So-
2 months Norley picks up, yes?
Well, they draw from Norley.
So that's a little,
So
okay.
there's
3
grand.
drivers.
They're making 60 grand to do it yearly, right?
Essentially. Good benefits.
That kind of pulls one of their 3 drivers out during those 10 months. And so during the summer, they use all 3.
Okay. All right.
It would cost us more to do it ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And they're great community partners, and we do not want to lose that. They're fantastic. Okay, other questions? Superintendent's recommendation?
It's just a great service for our kids. And, for the longest time, people didn't want to talk about mental health. and it's real. And we're very fortunate as a district to have this service with Hornley to help our kids, because when they're not well, they cannot learn. It doesn't matter what we do. And so I'm a big supporter of this.
But it is for health as well, like doctor appointments, things like that. Still can do that or no?
It's mostly, it's the mental, it's mental health.
Overwhelming majority of it, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you all. Do I hear a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement as presented?
Make the motion.
Second.
Okay.
Before we get too far away from Norley, they're gonna let us hold a walk for life. Work for a lot of the county, they're gonna let us hold a walk there, either in September or October. I will coordinate with the student council at the high school to see where they would be together. That will be in the walking path outside and then on the inside to help raise money for a lot of the county that pays so much to health.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ansel. That's what a wonderful job they do, and I know certainly a passion of yours. Thank you for sharing that, and we'll make sure we get information out to the board on that. And you're not sure of a date yet, correct?
No, and he's gonna waive the fee for us.
Okay.
So it'll be either, I've got 2 dates picked up, September, October, but I want this.
Okay.
Because when I had student council, those kids were very involved, they want to be involved. You know, we have 15 people on a team, so we always had 2 teams at least, and Relay for Life sent all that money to Albuquerque, we could never get any of it back. So the group of business people started Latimore County to keep that money here in the county. And if our kids and teachers would be excited to be involved in it.
Mr. Williams will probably coordinate with that. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that information. All right, next item, consider approval of memorandum of agreement with Lee County Sheriff's Office for SRO.
Okay, it's MOU month for
Yes.
August.
MOE.
Right, so this is our agreement with our SROs. We have 3 in the district. We have one stationed at the high school, serves high school in Ben Alexander. We have one on the Jefferson block in Lee Elementary, and then one that is stationed at Palin Middle School, and then she also serves kindergarten as well, Lano Elementary. And so it's the same 3 SROs we had last year, and they've been moved around to different campuses, and so far, so good. So, yeah.
Any significant changes from last year's?
We changed the time. Sheriff Helton was very great to work with, and making sure that they are reporting at 7:30 in the morning, and that they're working till 5 o'clock.
Okay.
So, yes,
And that's pretty much it as far as
that's
changes
pretty
within-
much the
Okay.
time.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, questions from the board? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to approve the MOA with Lee County Sheriff's Office?
So moved.
Is open.
Okay. All right, thank you. Next item, consider approval of, I feel like I'm repeating myself, memorandum of agreement with Lee County for Hope Autism.
We are so grateful for Lee County. Our commissioners are so giving and so generous, and always ready to hear about the needs that we have in our district. And County Commissioner Sims is the backer behind this MOU for our Hope Autism Parent Support Ground Program. This is something that Amanda De La Cruz applied for a grant last year and received, and it just went over so well. And it's about early detection, early education for our parents that have children with autism. And it was such a well-received program. I went to a couple of the sessions, and you had dads with the moms, and you had grandparents there, and they were able to help them with some strategies, and then they walked away with a hands-on something. And our own people provided the daycare. They had the children there, and so a lot of our instructional assistants from LACES and ACES and FACES were there to assist and help so that the parents could get there and be supported and to learn and support them. So county found out about this, and they wanted to assist us in this. So super thankful for this.
Great, great opportunity. Is it still monthly?
It is,
Or
I
quarterly,
believe, Mr.
monthly?
Hine, it is, and they're, yes, and we can get that scheduled to you. They're working at high school and Taylor, right? They're in two different places?
It's secondary and elementary.
Mhm.
To start off, right now it's actually at Atlanta in the library there. We have a huge playroom in the preschool,
Yes.
and that's where our daycare happens at. Secondary, I'll be honest, I can't think of where it's at right now. It's on the top of my head.
Well, I just,
Let's
you
say
know,
it's at the
sometimes
high
those parents
school.
can feel completely,
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah. And I just think, you know, those parents can feel completely overwhelmed in the support that they draw from one another, and then also the professional support, so it's,
And they feed them.
yeah,
They
it's a
feed the
great,
kids and the parents, so it's a
great
beautiful
thing. So
program.
I know it takes a lot of coordination, but it certainly benefits our kids and their families.
Yes.
Okay, questions from the board? Do I hear a motion to approve the MOA with Lee County for Hope Autism?
So moved.
It's open.
Thank you. All right, next item. Consider approval of memorandum of agreement with Lee County for Media Center.
And this is our last MOA of the evening. So again, the county coming through again to support Mr. Dotson's, he's here today. His class, they have done some special projects in the media, and they've showcased that at Lee Theater, I believe, in the spring, and had a great turnout, and just somebody from the community saw that and offered some support, and so Commissioner Kimbrough is the one that's backing this support for his class to get them what they need above what the school does, but to help them with the media and the filming and all the projects that they do. So thank you, Mr. Dodson, for that. And we're very appreciative of Commissioner Kimbrough. She's amazing as well. They all are.
Mr. Dodson, do you have anything you want to add? I know you work really hard with the kids on this, so. If you want. I don't want to put you on the hot seat, you know.
We kind of don't know how this happened. So, through context with the community, Bashan Robinson came to us and said, hey, we want you to get involved with the Lee County Heroes Project. And then he, through his contacts with the county, he's that person that kind of got that ball rolling. So we were like kind of taken by surprise. We didn't realize this was happening the way it happened. So.
Well, we appreciate you stepping up and helping our kids with that. So thank you very much.
And really good for our students. You know, we talk
so
about the
good.
heroes and the veterans, and so it's a really neat.
That opportunity to give back. Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the MOA with Lee County for Media Center?
So moved. Second.
Vanessa, my voting is not coming in, so yeah. Put me in there.
All right, thank you. Next item, consider the approval for the closure of New Hope High School for the 27-28 school year.
Yes, ma'am. So, and I'll have Mr. Mates assist me with this as well, but, so there's always been a grading system for the schools. You know, we have the letter grades, we had the rankings and all that. And, it's always been discussed, but really not been enforced, for all alternative high schools. And, this year and last year, they have been monitoring us, and while New Hope has been making wonderful gains. That staff is amazing over there, working their hearts out and just really changing the culture of that school. It's not going as fast as the state would like for it to go. So we received word that we were going to need to look at going down the road for closing New Hope High School for the 27-28 school year. We have spoken to the staff. Mr. Mates and I went over the first week. That staff were on board and spoke to them. That was a hard conversation to have, but they're resilient, and they're like, all right, we'll meet this challenge. And so they're continuing to do some great things. We don't know what is going to happen. We will be tracking this and working with the state closely. This is not a Leamington Municipal School District decision. This is strictly PED. And I do want to make that clear, and I want that on record. And, we're working right now with at different plans on if we are to receive the word from PED that this is going to happen, what that's going to look like. And so, Mr. Mates, I don't know if you would like to add anything to that.
Yes, the discussions that we've had with the Priority Schools Bureau have indicated that their claim is that this is a U.S. Department of Ed. We don't meet the standards. And I did just a very, very quick review through NMVistas. And I mean, there's 1,000 schools I was trying to get to right before I came here, but probably 95% of the schools that are on MRI rating, they're alternative or charter schools. There's a handful of, you just consider neighborhood school that are in the MRI rating. And the expectation for some of those, especially the neighborhood schools, would be to restructure and rebrand and remove staff and hire new people back or closure. So the Mexico PED is stating that this is due to the U.S. Department of Ed's standard, and the growth isn't there. But I will tell you, New Hope that was 2 decades of my life, and it's very important. It's very hard, but they made those threats for probably 15 years to me that they were going to shut the school down or whatever, and it never happened.
Right.
Among other districts. So.
And we've received no correspondence from DOE on this, correct?
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
how true is that?
that's where
I feel like that's something that could be,
verified.
yeah, it needs to be verified, I would think, if the,
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
if it is the feds doing it, I think that just needs to be verified. Is it something
But the
that-
district has received no.
Not to my knowledge.
Yeah. Well,
This is all coming through Priority
right.
Schools Bureau.
Okay.
And that was when we met in Albuquerque. That was directly from them saying that.
And so it's not a definitive. It's highly encouraging the district to begin to plan for if this is going to happen, or
There were pathways
Yeah.
that you could choose, and we're discussing options right now. Currently, the pathway that we're on is the closure.
can it be opened under a restructure? Something different, or we don't know that yet.
Well, in truth, I don't really know
Okay.
that.
Yeah,
I'm
that's fine.
assuming that if we backtracked and did certain steps of the restructure, that's a possibility.
Okay.
We also know that there's an election, and
Yeah.
other things
We don't know what's
can
going
happen,
on.
but that is what was relayed to us.
I think the thing that's really frustrating, just you think about so many of our kids, this gave them that opportunity, for a variety of reasons, good kids, variety of reasons that they needed an alternative pathway. And to just cut their legs out from under them like that is infuriating to me, but,
But I will tell you, New Hope has made enormous gains.
oh, they're doing a great
And
job.
they're, targeting, according to the Bureau, they're saying it's the graduation rate. And it's a little frustrating because with schools with a smaller population, I don't know if this is how they're still doing it, but the way they used to do it was a 3-year rolling average. So if you had, two really good, strong years and kids were graduating within their cohort, but if kids were there, they were supposed to graduate the previous year, it actually counted against you. They didn't care about the overalls. And then you might have a good year that dropped off because now you have a new cohort, and this was more kids graduating out of their cohort, and it drove it down.
And never mind that we were doing great things for our kids in our community.
The total number
that's-
in our world mattered.
Well,
Yeah.
I think your point of the number of schools in New Mexico that are in that status, that are charter schools or an alternative school, I mean, the status is wrong. You know what I mean? I think the PED has it wrong. And that, them blaming the feds is absurd.
I don't want to give you my opinion because I'm on record.
I know.
No, and you guys are doing a great job, but we've seen it through the years, not only the staff and what they do, and you were there, and but what they do to service these kids is incredible, and then these kids are able to then graduate and move forward.
Ms.
And it was a
Maker,
different path.
we have New Hope graduates teaching in our
Yes.
school system. And outstanding.
They go on to be very successful, they just needed a different path.
Nurses out at Norway, there's law enforcement, there's, I was sitting at a table having dinner and there were 2 graduates at that dinner with me. And I can tell you, they were financially way more successful than I was. Their Rolexes kept gleaming in my eye. But
Well, we won't give up.
we're at their mercy, so.
And I know you guys are working hard on this.
I think the only thing I would ask is if you could get us some more information on that,
The options,
on the options, and then
the U.S. Department of Ed.
if the U.S. Department of Ed is really pushing this,
Okay.
Or if it's just.
Because then we can be a squeaky wheel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. I mean, we can,
Because you guys are limited on what you can
yeah.
Thank you.
do.
I'll do that.
So for clarification, what we're approving tonight is this document, not
Correct.
approving a closure of New Hope High School.
And the document is closure for New Hope
Right,
High School.
right.
Yes.
But that's pending lots of things.
Right,
But
and
you
it-
have to,
And
you
it's
had
gonna
to
be
sentence.
a month by month, situation, and when the PED, if we're looking at test scores and graduation, it could be the end of the school year, beginning of the summer before they can tell us anything, so we have to have a plan A and a plan B. But I will say that, we're just not going to accept that and just be okay with it and do nothing. We are fighting this, and we have been for the last year. And this staff, again, they have done great things. A lot of our students at New Hope serve the community. They do service projects. And I just wish the PED would come down and spend some time in New Hope High School and then tell us what we need to do.
And in our community.
Because all they're going on is a number that is presented to them on a piece of paper, like Mr. Mates said, a 3-year average. And so it's not, I hate to do that, it's not fair, but it's not right. We're not doing right by kids, and we're not doing right by our staff members at New Hope High School, and it just kind of infuriates me a little bit. So I need to stop talking.
So that being said, your recommendation for approval?
Well, we have to.
What's the timeframe on having this document?
It has to go in, it's part of our application. We have applied for some monies to assist.
That's what they do, they hold the
Right,
money.
and so,
Until
that's
they
part of
receive
it.
this signed document approved at a board meeting, then the application, if I'm understanding right, the application that we put in for assistance on doing
And
things.
it's to hold us accountable that we're letting you guys know that this is happening. That's what they're wanting to know, that we have brought this before the board, that you guys are aware that New Hope High School's possible closure for next school year. That's what this is about.
But by signing this, we are not saying absolutely it's closed. It's that, should that be the only recourse we have, that it's been brought to the board.
And Ms. Stevens has been working with us on the application. She's been really the one,
Who is?
Ms. Stevens is working with within that application, working closely with Ms. Hutchins and Mr. Mates on this. And so I don't know if you want to add anything, Stephanie?
Just that, yes, this is the thing. We had to choose,
Sorry.
as Mr. Mapes stated, there were 3 options. And when we looked at the 3 options, the only feasible one was the closure option based on the guidance that they gave us. The restructuring, the removing of staff, you know, that didn't
No.
fit our needs.
Get rid of our people that are doing a great job.
These school improvement monies must be applied for, and this has to be embedded in that for the approval. So we can't even say, no, thank you, we don't want your money, we don't want to play your game. Like, that's not an option for us. And so we did apply for the monies. The use of the funds is very limited and very strict, and it's been a real effort, including the Prairie Schools Bureau, to go, no, that doesn't work for Livingston. And so they have flexed a little bit for us to allow us to use the funds not in their entirety, and been very generous with how broad they've allowed us to apply for the funds. And so, you know, some of the things that they wanted us to do was have a navigator pilot. We decided that wasn't appropriate. We didn't want to hire another person to come in and do the things. And so they have been trying to work with us under what guidelines they've set as well. But this is the pathway, and so this is out there for your approval.
So money has to be applied for, and this has to be attached to it. Okay. Thank you, Stephanie. Anybody
Right,
else?
so to piggyback on that, we did not even want to apply for the monies.
Right.
But we were told we had to. And even though they're coming in from behind to say that we don't qualify for some of the monies that we're being told to qualify for. Right? Yeah.
Yes.
So,
So if you don't send us in, what happens?
We'll get a letter, I'm sure.
we did qualify for a little bit of the money to do a night school. They did approve that part, correct? Yeah.
To do what?
To do night
School
school.
for the students. Your recommendation? This is hard. This is really, I think you can tell, this is hard for the board. You think about what employees of this district have given to that program.
Can they close it without this,
Yes.
regardless,
And then we don't get the money. So either way,
without notice? Like,
They have given us notice.
this is the notice.
this is the notice.
Now, you know, New Hope is its own school, so it has a school number. And so, I know it could be semantics, but if the school is closed, based on what their standard is, then we're gonna come up with some options, a variety of options, have any discussion with people to see how we can still service this population. So, the school itself can be closed, but teaching the program.
Could be serviced differently.
You
Did you?
have more things to add, sorry. Because of New Hope's status, their dash plan, their 90-day and annual plan had to be approved by Priority Schools prior to us submitting the application for the funding. And the guidance that drove how that plan was organized was based on the decision of restructuring, removing, or closing. And so there were 3 different guidebooks, manuals on how you had to create that plan as well. So that plan is also based on this application.
So if that did move forward, let's say, and I know how hard the staff is working, but it did move forward for the closing. I'm hearing talk about restructuring, but by doing it that way, then at the local level, we could look at the restructure. Otherwise, if we choose the pathway of restructure, then the ED determines how we do the restructure.
Correct, yes,
No,
ma'am.
thank you.
Just take the number away from us. It would not be a school with a number. But I'm sure.
Graduation rates, attendance, that's tied to the school number.
Mhm.
So the number, school number, basically the school goes away. Those numbers flow into Littleton High School, and they kind of meld in there. But that doesn't mean that we couldn't, as a district, determine how we're going to provide service to that type of population.
A program or
Because we've got some
restructure.
logistical things that I know Mr. Williams is already trying to, but we're not gonna go there right now.
Well, even if they restructured, if that brought our graduation rate at the high school down a few points, it would be, we're still servicing those kids. That group of kids that need to be serviced. So,
And again, we did not want to apply for the money.
Right.
We didn't. But we were told we had to. Makes no sense.
We were told we had to because of the status of that school.
Yes.
Yes.
Otherwise, they'll come in and take over with.
And they review, so our other school dash plans get reviewed by me. And I say, yes, they meet them, whatever. This one gets reviewed by PED because of their designation, not because of. So. And there are different reporting requirements that New Hope has to follow based on that as well.
Thank you all. I know you guys have put a lot of work and heartache into this.
My recommendation is not to close New Hope. So I want that on record. Recommendation is to approve this application so that we can follow the rules of what PED is putting before us to do. That's my recommendation.
I think that was very well said. So I think that's kind of the consensus here. We don't want to harm our district while we work through this. So. Okay. Hearing that, do I hear?
It sounds to me like, I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
That this is probably the best option in order to have the most flexibility. Is that
And a little more
a
control
little
at our
more
level.
control over on our end, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and I will tell you that we have been fighting this for about 1.5 years. And we didn't bring the staff in because we were going to win it. But we're up against the wall now. And in the last 1.5 years, Ms. Hutchins and 1 or 2 of her staff members have been going up to Albuquerque consistently, like every 3 months, to attend trainings, and 2 and 3 day trainings, and filling out the paperwork and what are they doing, and showing them all these charts and all these things that they're doing. And they saw that growth. And we got to a point, we were sitting at the table with the PSP, the Priority School Bureau, PSB, and they said, you've got to make a choice, Superintendent, which one is it? And so I had Ms. Stevens with me, I had Mr. Mapes with me, and we looked at all the options, and we did the least amount that would be damaging to our school, and the least amount of paperwork, and the least amount of everything, and like, what do we need to do just to get it done? And this was the choice.
I do like us having more say in the restructure than somebody else coming in.
Yes.
oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes. And this bought us another year.
any other questions, comments? Thank you all. I know this is hard for every one of
You know,
us.
we have a staff member here.
Yeah.
Ms. Dodson, yes, serves at that school.
Yeah. Okay. Hearing that, do I hear a motion to approve the document stating closure of New Hope High School for the 27-28 school year?
So moved.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, that takes us to, the hits just keep on coming. Okay. Our final one tonight on new business is to accept board members' resignation, appoint board secretary, and determine process for filling the board vacancy. As many of you already know, Mr. Dunlap and his wife are moving to Texas. And so we hate to see him go, wish them well, hate to lose him as a board member. He's been a great board member, and we certainly hate to have to do this, but he did submit his letter of resignation, and so this is kind of a three-part thing, but we did put it all in one motion. To accept the resignation effective tonight and at the end of day today, and then appoint a board secretary. That was a role that he has served in for several years. And so at that, I'm going to ask Mr. Bishop if you would be willing to serve in that capacity as the board secretary.
Yes, I will.
Okay, thank you. And then determine the process for filling the board vacancy. To be clear, it is just for 1 year. His term ends November of 27, and so it would be for 1 year. And then when we have a limited amount of time to appoint someone, and that person will serve for the year, and then we'll have the option to run for election if they so choose. So in the past, we have taken letters of interest. If anybody's interested in serving in that capacity, is that what we want to continue to do, or, and then we just have to set up a deadline. But I'm opening it up to the board for discussion on that.
We did get quite a few people expressing interest in filling that position. Shallow step down.
Okay.
I think our best option at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I think we just need to be sure and set the date.
Yeah. And it needs to be.
Could we do that September 8th, the special board meeting? Or can it not be on the same time as that?
For the letters, I would say probably.
Before that, but
yeah.
then make a call by.
Yes, I would say that would need to be determined. I think that, a pretty short turnaround, I was just looking at my calendar, pretty short turnaround for getting the letters in, and then that way get them to board members, and then kind of go from there. And we could do that. We'll probably need to have a special board meeting so that board member would be able to join the September board meeting.
I got you.
So,
So it needs to be before then.
yeah, and so, just kind of glancing at the calendar, knowing that the business office, the district is not open on Fridays, I'm looking at, I don't know, this week and next week. And so, yeah, and maybe a deadline of the 20th, or I don't know, just tossing that out.
I will be out of town and not have my phone with me.
Okay,
But from, what's this Friday?
this Friday is the 14th.
Okay, I'll be out of town from the 14th through the 20th.
Okay, that's okay, because that would just be letters. And so then we could set a special board meeting for that following week. Okay, and what I'm gonna ask is board members just check that last week of August and see, and then let us know, and then we can determine a date or a special board meeting for that. But if we have the letters of interest, by, close of business on Thursday, August the 20th. Would that work for everybody? Okay, then we'll get that too, and then we'll determine the.
I got a little bit going.
Would that work for you, Riley? Okay. And then that last week, if you can just kind of look over your schedules and we'll determine a time to do a special board meeting for that. So the idea, like you said, is that new board member would be ready to roll for the September board meeting.
So you'll get us a date, Ms. Baker?
Yeah, I'm just gonna ask board members to kind of check their schedules and, yeah, we'll get that noticed. But I think the main thing right now is to get it out there, and could we get it on the website so that, the notice for the letters? Yeah. Okay. I just, from seeing it, and we can talk after the meeting, but yeah, there's usually something just pretty easy to spot there, so, okay. So we will accept the resignation, do I hear a motion to accept the resignation, accept Bradley Bishop stepping in to be the secretary of the board, and that we will take letters of interest through the close of business on August the 20th.
Make the motion.
Okay?
I'll second.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay, that moves us to public comment time. At this time, is there anybody here to speak on any items on tonight's agenda? Okay. Okay, hearing none. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? Thank you all.